I'm often asked by people that are starting in the hobby of car audio or that work in the car audio industry, what are some good basic installation tools to have? Now, of course, you know about the average installation tools that are going to be needed, screwdrivers, sockets, all of that kind of thing. In this video, I want to focus on some of the tools that are more unique to car audio and can really make a car audio installation a lot easier. It's a lot like Pokemon. You gotta catch them all. What's up, my dudes? Welcome to Car Audio Fabrication, the show that's like a Pikachu, because it has that shockingly helpful car audio information. Ha! So one of the first tools that I want to recommend is a nice set of Pry Tools. So basically what these are used for is when you're working in a car audio installation, you're oftentimes removing different panels within the vehicle. These Pry Tools allow you to simply pry these panels away without damaging those panels. Now the reason you want to have a set of Pry Tools, and I actually have two different sets here, is because of the different shapes. You'll have things like this, which work great for popping those little Christmas tree looking panel clips that are behind door panels. You have more pointed guys like this that are easier to get underneath some of the smaller different items. Sometimes you'll have little covers that go over screw caps, that kind of thing. This works good for that. You'll have wider style Pry Tools, which are good for getting around dash bezels and popping them off. And finally, you may have some more unique shapes like this one that might be used for getting back behind something and pulling it. A lot of times, some of these different panel retention clips and even some of the different wiring harnesses have kind of a unique orientation that you have to use a specialized tool that might be pointy or have a hook in order to get it to disconnect. So I also want to let you guys know that I have a nice little list of all these different tools that are going to be shown in this video. So you guys can check that out down in the video description if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, I can diglet. Ha! Next up, I have a tool that I use constantly, and it's super simple. And you really wouldn't think that it would be that big a deal. To me, this is a super valuable tool. I'm talking about the Olfa Knife. So to me, this is much better than the standard razor blade. I use this thing literally all the time. And why I think it's a little bit more valuable than a standard razor blade is because of its size. You can see that the blade itself is actually very small. So it's easy to use in a car when you need to get into a tight spot. Now, what do I actually use this for? As you likely know, a lot of times we need to run a power wire through the firewall of a vehicle, and there might be an OEM rubber plug that we need to go through for that. This is nice for that because you can get down in that cramped area, and these Olfa knives are super sharp. Because they're so sharp, it's really nice for precise work. I find if you need to trim a little part of carpet where you're going around part of your install, it's easy to do that and make it look really accurate. I actually use this a lot in fabrication as well. I'll use it to trim vinyl since it's so nice and sharp. I'll use it to actually pop off the back layer of the adhesive side of template tape to remove it faster. I'm just always finding a ton of good uses for this thing. Now I do want to make a couple of recommendations. The first is that you get the metal version. There are plastic versions that use this same size blade, but they're a little bit bigger. And the reason I like the metal version is, again, it's small. And because it's metal, it's very durable. I've actually had this one for well over 2 years, and I should mention that you can actually swap the blades out as well. So when you get the replacement blades, look for the package like this, because what's nice about this is on one half, if you slide it open, it actually has the new blades. And on the other half here, there's actually a little slot in the top. But what you can do is you simply insert the blade in like so, and you just give it a little jiggly pop. Ha! I'm done now, I swear, I'm done. And it will snap like so. And now you have a new blade tip, which is super, super sharp. It's super easy to do. And actually these blades last quite a while. There seem to be really good high quality blades. So in talking about the Olfa knife, I mentioned that we're oftentimes required to work in tight spaces in the vehicle. And what that means is a lot of times, whatever the bay lighting is in your shop or in your garage, it's not gonna shine into the car, so it's hard to see. So my next recommendation is lighting. So this is actually two tools in one category. The first tool that I recommend you looking into is getting a headlamp. Now, to be honest, while this one works really good, it is this single strap style, which I find, especially when I'm sweating, I don't want to have this thing really tight on my head because it gets uncomfortable. So I find that over time it will slide down. So my recommendation would be to get one of the ones that has the top that comes over. There's all sorts of different options out there, but this is just nice because obviously you can turn it on like so, you have it attached to your head, and then you're completely hands-free. Wherever you're working in the vehicle, your hands are lit up. If you need to look somewhere, it's simple and easy like that. And a lot of times if you're up under a dash, even if you have a lantern, you might not necessarily, wherever that lantern is sitting, it might not be casting its light into that spot. So this allows you to kind of see a little bit better. Now I did mention lanterns, so that's my second advice for you. So this is a little bit more expensive than $30. Also a good solution. Again, there's plenty of different lanterns out there. I'll actually put a couple of different recommendations down in that list for you guys. And actually there's a thing out there that I want to get. It has all these magnets all over it, and it allows you to literally attach it to like the hood of a vehicle, or you can stick it like inside the door if you're working on a door panel or something like that, and you can turn it on and it shines light in all directions. I'd really like to check that out. So again, that thing is down in the description as well. So in car audio, we're oftentimes using wires, and if you guys have ever done even a single car audio install, you know that you cut wire a lot. If you've ever tried to cut larger 4-gauge or 0-gauge wire with scissors, you know that it can be difficult. You end up with a crazy frayed end, and that's just not a good thing when you go to insert that into an amplifier or into a crimp terminal. You're not going to have the most contact with all the wire inside of that terminal. So that's why the next tool that I recommend is a quality set of cable cutters. So the cable cutters obviously just allow you to cut the cable, but what's nice about them is it's very quick and easy to do. And when you do it, it leaves a nice, perfect end. So obviously you could just strip that away, insert it in a terminal, no problem. So I do want to mention something so that you guys don't make the same mistake I did. This is actually a pretty quality pair. The pair I had before, I kind of tried to get the budget version, if you will, and they just didn't work out very well. So I think these are around $25 to $30 as well, and I would just recommend just spend the money right now, right away. You'll be happy you did instead of messing with something that doesn't work well. So I'm pretty happy with these. Again, link down below. So the next tool that's absolutely essential for making a car audio installation easier is a step bit. So I definitely recommend when you're running the wire from the battery through the firewall into the vehicle, I recommend that you look for an OEM location where you can cut a grommet, or you can find an existing spot that has a boot to go through. But sometimes that part of the vehicle is just too difficult to access. You have to literally remove the whole dash to get to it, and that's just not practical. So sometimes you have to add a hole. Now, of course, there's nothing wrong with doing that. You just want to make sure that you do it properly. So although this is kind of off topic, I do want to say that if you do use a step bit in order to put a hole in the firewall, you want to make sure that you paint the hole that you've applied so that it doesn't rust. And you also want to make sure that you use a good waterproof grommet. That grommet will actually tighten around the hole, and then you feed the wire through that. And when you clamp down that grommet, it actually makes a seal against the wire, so you're not worried about any water coming in through that hole. So this one I think is in the $20 to $30 range. I'll have to check, but it's actually treated me pretty well. I've used it quite a bit, and it's still nice and sharp. But one of the things that's really nice about a step bit is, say you're running multiple wires through a hole, you could literally size the hole, and then you could see, okay, so it's not quite large enough yet. I need to make it a little bit larger because I'm adding multiple wires. You can simply just step up the size. It's not a problem. And not to mention that I think, so the max hole size on here is 1 3/8 inches, and 1 3/8 inches drill bit is a lot more expensive than this. So realistically, you're getting a lot of different drill bits in one. So guys, remember that it's always better to have a tool and not need it than to need a tool and not have it. I'm not saying that you have to go out there and spend millions of dollars and get all sorts of tools, but I definitely recommend the tools that are listed in this video. It's always an investment. So if you can invest a few dollars and start building up your tool arsenal, it's always a good idea to do so that you have the tools when you need them. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out the link down in the video description for all the tools used in this video, and as always, a special thanks to Brian, Eddie, Ali, Finchy, EJ, Rory, Truman, Emmanuel, Jerry, and the rest of the Patreon support team. Along with you guys, the viewers, thank you all for watching.